I guess we should go ahead and get started. Hi, I'm Lisette Blythe. I'm an author and I am also your friendly neighborhood IT specialist. Today I'm here to talk about the author part of who I am. I want to preface this with a couple of things. Number one, I am not technically an indie author. I am published under a publisher. I'm published under Three Fortnights Press, a boutique publisher out of New Orleans. Okay? So, you may hear me use the term indie author, but know that somebody else publishes me. Okay? I don't publish myself. Number two, I'm going to do this as clear and as concise as I can, but please keep in mind, number one, it's late. Late for me. Number two, I have ADHD and I am currently unmedicated. But I took some notes and hopefully they help. Finally, you may also hear or see my cat in this video. I don't know. She's kind of wackadoodle. Just go with it. Lulu is just being Lulu. Right now she's rubbing up against the tripod. I'm terrified she's going to knock this over. So let's begin, shall we? I went to an event this past weekend, Happily Indie After, and it was not what it was cracked up to be. And I'm making this video in light of not just Happily Indie After, but there has lately been a slew of book events from inexperienced event planners that jump in not really knowing what they're doing. And because of that, it doesn't just harm them, it harms the author because it hurts our bottom line.
Playing with my money is like playing with my emotions.
I'm going to start with my fault in this. My fault being that I didn't do the due diligence that I normally do when I go to a convention that I've never been to or heard of before. I have rules for myself when I do a convention. I research it. I see if the event planner has done a convention before. If they have not done a convention before, I'm less inclined to do it if it's not within the state of Indiana. And I'm even if it is in Indiana, it needs to be within an hour radius of me. I don't like spending money on a hotel room. I don't like spending gas money. It's just better to be safe than sorry. I try to see if the person has done events in the past that have had issues, anything like that, to rule that out. I don't know what I was thinking this time around. Actually, yes, I can tell you what I was thinking this time around. I saw the event. I went to the website and I noted that they had several events. So I'm like, oh, they've done this before. It's perfectly fine. If they have this many events going on in the future, it's fine. That was my dumbass fault. I should have been more thorough in my checking. And I normally am more thorough in my checking. The cat. I am more thorough in my checking. I just completely spaced it this time around. That's on me. Because had I done the due diligence, I wouldn't have signed up. So, Happily Indie After was a book convention held in Cincinnati this past weekend, August 14th and 15th, Friday and Saturday. And because it was in Cincinnati, that meant And it was because it was in Cincinnati and because it was a 2-day event, that meant 2 things. Number 1, I had to request a day off from my actual 9 to 5. And number 2, I would have to get a hotel room. The day off is not an issue because I have PTO, but it's also taking away from my PTO. I don't like doing that. I like hoarding it because I am a goblin. But I did it because I was trying to step out of my comfort zone a bit. We're not great running up to this event. And I'm going to use other events that I've been a part of as examples. Indie LitCon, for example, they did their first event this past year, and it was in Speedway, Indiana, which is like right next to Indianapolis. And it was a phenomenal success. And the entire time that we were running up to this event, there were constant. They told us the amount of tickets that were sold. They told us about any issues that they were seeing, how they were proactively working to fix them. There was just solid communication the entire time. That was not the case with this one. Oh, and they also advertised it constantly across every single social media platform that I am a part of. They were there. They were advertising their product, basically. That was not the case with Happily Indie After. Number 1, I didn't see hardly anything, if anything at all, as far as advertising went from the event planners. And we're going to come back to that. Then we would get occasional frantic emails. There were emails requesting information from us, which we gave. And there was a Google Drive, which is par for the course, where they had templates and graphics and things like that for you to use to be able to advertise on your own. But for the most part, the communication wasn't there. Secondly, this felt the event planner seemed like very inexperienced for such a large event. One of the issues that they ran into was that the $250 that we paid to be there, part of that $250 included a meal. Like on Friday night, after we closed up shop for the evening, we were all supposed to, authors and vendors, go to a meal. We got an email saying that the venue has charged her more things that weren't in the contract, but they were allowed to charge because of a clause in the contract. And so now there was no money for the dinner. So that's extra money that I need to shell out on top of everything else for a meal that I had already planned on being there and having, and you get what I'm saying. You understand. So, things weren't looking great then. Around this time, I got invited to another event, and it has absolutely nothing to do with Happily Indie After, but I joined that event. It's not till September, and has absolutely nothing to do with this event, but people that are going to this event in September were also going to Happily Indie After, and they were in that group talking about, well, I was going to this, but I canceled because the person running it was very inexperienced, and like all of this is going on. And I'm like, wait, I'm part of this too. What's happening? And I found out that we, as in the authors and vendors, were being blamed for the lack of ticket sales.
Oh, hell no!
And on August 7th, by August 7th, there were only 237 tickets sold. That's not good. They had I don't know if the event had this person speak to the authors and vendors or what, or if they just had this on their heart. But one of the speakers that was going to be at the event seemed like they were placing blame for lack of ticket sales on the authors and vendors. And I did a TikTok about that because as an event planner, advertising is part of your budget line. If it wasn't, why are there influencers there? Riddle me that. You should have a budget line for advertising, for telling people that this event is going on. And even if you don't have a budget line, there are free options. The public library in that area, bookshops, coffee shops, things like that. Talking to local book influencers. There are ways around that. And it felt like the blame was being put on us, that we weren't getting our backing to come. But also, a lot of the people at that event, this was their first event. So you are depending on people who have never done an event or have maybe one book for sale to bring their people in. Okay.
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 When I got there and I was speaking with somebody about the advertising, they said that an influencer reached out to them maybe a week before the event and they had cobbled together some sort of like flyer video thing and sent it to the author and was like, okay, go ahead and post it to yours. But they're the influencer.
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
Okay. All right. So I already know that this is an unmitigated disaster. The scheduling of everything was also very weird. Typically in conventions and events like that, yes, you will have speakers. Yes, you will have people talking. But the book sales and going to the vendors and things like that should be continuously going on. Those things should continuously be open. And that wasn't the case on Saturday. So everything started like at 8 or 9. But the sale stuff, like people being able to walk in and check out books, didn't start till 11:30. That's a waste of a lot of time for us being there. Yeah, this was not a good event. It wasn't handled well. It seemed very poorly managed. I never even saw the person that was running this, and typically maybe you don't, like for very large events you really don't, because there's a lot going on behind the scenes. But there were at least 143 authors and vendors, and it seemed like there were more authors than people. And it also felt like this person maybe wanted to just have a kickback with authors, like where everybody kick back and it's just like very chill and stuff, but they also charged money for it. So none of it made sense. And like I did a few videos on TikTok. I had a microaggression issue at one point. Whatever, roll down my back. And then I did a video on TikTok about how I was going to talk about this. I was going to make this video. I was going to explain what I saw, what I thought, and everything. And the main speaker not only bombarded my video, but tagged in a bunch of people like the book Avengers. so that they could talk to me. And then one person was like, we should all talk about this behind the scenes. Lady, you can talk about whatever you want behind the scenes, but at the end of the day, you don't represent me. I don't represent you. We don't have the same experience. I'm going to talk my shit.
Oh, I'm going to do that anyway. I'm going to do that anyway because that's how I am.
Because I have that right. And no matter what I say and what I do, it's not like it's going to affect your money. Like, what I say and what I do is not going to get anybody their money back. That money is long gone. The money that you spent on your table is long gone. It went to pay for that gigantic, overpriced venue. I don't know. It seems like there are a lot of people in this book space that fancy themselves event planners, and they couldn't plan a family reunion, much less an event like this. And that's what this felt like. Somebody that like had a lot of hopes and dreams and not much else. Now, I said I was in IT, but I've also been a project manager, and this was not handled or managed well. And they have several more events coming up, and I hope they take away from this and learn from this. That venue should have been smaller. It didn't have to be in that spot. They should have probably did it at like a hotel. Like, this place was attached to a hotel, but it was a convention center as well. They should have done it like at a hotel where there was like a big room and that. I don't know if they had the rapport in the community to have people talking about it. The advertising wasn't there. We were promised a meal that we didn't get. We were apparently not allowed to bring in food and drink. Like, we had to order from the convention center if we were hungry or thirsty. I saw the people did order their lunch through that, and the staff was running around like chickens with their head cut off, because like everything was lined up, but there were no numbers on the table, so the staff didn't know where to deliver the food at. Now, they did have a number. The event people did put a number on our table, but that was just for us to know where we're at. They didn't specify that we should leave the number on the table so that the convention staff could find people and give them their food. Typically at book events, I don't eat. My tummy is always a little bit upset anyway, and it's just in my best interest not to eat, but I drink heavily, like water, iced coffee, diet soda. I'm always guzzling something. And so I went to the vending machine to maybe buy a Diet Dr. Pepper, and a Diet Dr. Pepper from the vending machine was $4.95. I'm not spending that. So I calmly brought in my water bottle, because you can fight me. I'll happily go home. I wasn't making money anyway. At the end of the day, I made absolutely nothing. I did not break even. And I am fortunate. I'm one of the fortunate ones because of the fact that I have a 9-to-5, and it's a tech 9-to-5. So I kind of make bank, and I will be fine. But there are some people out there that won't be. The woman that was behind me was like, yeah, I've pretty much lost $1,000. This was not good. And for the first time in my life, for the first time since 2023, since I started going to events, I packed up early and I left because there was no point. I say all of this as a message to event planners in the book community. I need you to take a look within yourself. I need you to think about your limitations. I need you to think about who you are as a person, and can you really pull off an event? And if you can't, and you've already accepted money and there's no going back, might I suggest that you reach out to people that are are in the book community that have pulled off successful events, and maybe talk to them and get some mentoring, because you have one time to do something like this, to have a piss poor performance before nobody will touch you. I will never deal with a twisted tail event again. Like I said, it's partially my fault. I didn't do my due diligence. There is currently a storm brewing in my TikTok comments because I said that it was not a great event. But there is somebody trying to refute me. In my microaggressions video, where I talk about, a family stopped at every single table in my row except for the brown person with the brown faces on the cover. The main head speaker jumped in my comments and said, "I bought 4 books from you." What does that have to do with somebody completely bypassing my table when I'm the only person whose table they bypassed, and I'm the only person in that line with brown skin? What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? So yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. Like I said, my mentions are in shambles. I got people in there calling on, tagging authors like they are the Avengers. And I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I'm a grown-ass woman. And if this doesn't stop, I will make it stop. And you will not like how I make it stop.
Yeah, it's just looking like, bitch.
That's a warning. Okay? Now, it's late. I have work in the morning because like I said, I do have a 9 to 5. And I'm going to end this. It will probably be edited and go out on Monday. So when you see this, if you've got something nasty to say, just make sure you can handle what I say back, okay? You guys have a great evening, and if you would like to help me recover some of the costs from this, you can go to my website, lisetteblythe.com. My books are there. My books are always also on amazon.com. I believe they are on my publisher's page, shyaugust.com. If you are interested in my candles, shoot me a message somewhere on social media. I'm everywhere, and I can send you a scent list and we can work that out. If you have any questions, I'm chronically online. Ask them. Yeah, I think that is everything. I apologize if this is jumbled and bouncing all over the place. Like I said, it's late. I'm tired. I have ADHD and I'm currently unmedicated. So we're going to have to make the best of a very bleh situation. If I missed anything, if you want to add your 2 cents, feel free. Have a great night. Bye.